School District Board of Education special meeting Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 will now come to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call, Mr. Stevens.
Ms. White?
Present.
Mr. Chivarella?
Present.
Mr. Holmgren? Dr. Copto?
Here.
Mr. Maley? Mr. Majer?
Here.
Ms. Potsko?
Here.
Mr. Reddick?
Here.
Mr. Stevens? Here. Quorum established.
Madam President, before we start the meeting, I just want to make an announcement that we did have a brief executive session before the start of the meeting to discuss personnel matters. And also at this time, does anybody have any questions with regard to agenda items? The agenda is posted on the website. Does the public have any questions with regard to agenda items?
I don't know if you're talking about like the COVID policies, or if you want me to wait until you guys are talking about, when you're done with everything.
Ma'am, that would be at the end.
Okay.
That's not an agenda item, but we have a spot at the end for
Sweet.
those comments.
I'm sorry.
Okay?
Thank you.
So we'll take them then.
Okay, approval and acceptance of minutes and reports. Regular meeting minutes, August 3rd, 2021, and Luzerne Intermediate Unit Board of Directors regular meeting minutes of June 16th, 2021.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Chivarella,
Second.
second by Mr. Stevens. All in favor? Motion carries. Superintendent report.
Yes, Madam President. I have several presentations this evening. Some of them the recognition of our retirees. I see several here this evening, and then a presentation of our excellence in teaching. Prior to that presentation, I would just like to thank this community for your support in getting the school year launched. Last week was an eventful week for the Hanover Area School District as we launched for the first time in approximately 2 years, where we had students in the building full capacity. We had a new bus company, the Hanover Area Transportation Company, did an excellent job. Minor hiccups, everybody got off the ground well, our kids were safe. Tuesday, I want to thank the parents for the cooperation at an emergent situation at Memorial, for their patience and understanding. Our staff did an amazing job keeping the kids safe. And then again on Wednesday, when the flash floods came through the region. So I'm very thankful of our staff in every building, our administrative team, and this Board of Education for allowing us to move swiftly and get our bus companies rolling and getting our kids to safety. So I'm very appreciative of the patience of the parents. I want to let you know that the buses did run into some obstacles that were unexpected, and you were very cordial in the understanding that we did run into some obstacles that were unforeseen, and we really appreciate the understanding. So I thank you for that. Other than that, we are also cooperating with the Hanover Area Police Department in our Roots Walking Home, and assuring that everything that you've been seeing in the media locally, we are recognizing that as a school district and keeping our student safety at the utmost concern. So as a result, we were working with the police department today for events that took place over the weekend, and we're keeping mindful of putting plans together in place, and you will be hearing from us soon. Other than that, I want to move to the positive aspect of the district and the multiple years of service to the folks sitting out in our audience this evening. I want to recognize Mary Ellen Konetsky. She had 15 years of service within this district, but over 30 years of education service. I'm going to just announce so everybody can hear on the camera up here. Marilyn Namey, 23 years of service in this district, and Nancy Needles here, 45 years of service for the Hanover Area School District. So I'm going to move down off camera now and present these folks with their plaques. So. Ireland. Yes, lifetime pass, all of our athletic events.
So excited.
Thank you so much. Nancy, is your lifetime pass, any athletic event here?
Thank you. That's awesome.
Service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, thank you.
We're taking mask off.
Want to take it off?
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
That's much better.
Diane Majer is not here, correct, Michael? Right. Okay, Madam Chair, I'm just gonna do one more presentation, and this is our Excellent in Teaching Award certificates here and their gifts. We have Desiree Bannon here, and again, Mary Ellen Connect. How about this? How about that fancy pants? Whoa. Want another picture?
Oh, sorry.
That's video. This is the video.
Congratulations. Leaving on a high note. Excellent. Wonderful.
Could you fix the sound, please?
Okay, Madam Chair, that's the conclusion of my report.
Congratulations to all of you. Do we have a motion to accept the superintendent report?
Motion?
Motion by Mr. Reddick, second by Joyce Potsko. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. General recommendation. Can I have a motion to approve items 1 through 3?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Chivarella, second by Ms. Potsko. Roll call?
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Chivarella,
Yes.
Dr. Kopko,
Yes.
Mr. Majer,
Yes.
Ms. Potsko, Mr. Reddick,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes.
Financial recommendations to approve items 1 through 8. Can I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Potsko,
Second,
second by Mr. Stevens. Roll call?
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Chivarella,
Yes.
Dr. Kopko,
No on 1 and 2 because the disbursement items, some are not lining up with the budgeted line items. Yes on everything else.
Mr. Majer,
No on 1 and 2, and yes on everything else.
Ms. Potsko, Mr. Reddick,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes.
Okay, personnel recommendations. Can I have a motion to approve items 1 through 12?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Majer,
Wasn't that where we have the names that apply for the extracurricular? Sure.
second by Ms. Potsko. Roll call, Mr. Stevens?
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Chivarella,
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Ms. Potsko?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Any question? Is it 1 through 12?
1 through 13, I thought we added one.
No, 1 through 12.
But I thought we couldn't do number 10. Were we on holding back?
That's for extracurriculars.
Okay.
That's for extracurriculars.
What about the coach?
Yeah, we're not doing that at this meeting.
It's October.
So it's just 1 through 12.
Can we do the roll call one more time, we'll start with?
Reddick is a yes then.
Ms. Blight?
Yes.
Mr. Chivarella?
Yes.
Dr. Kopko?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Ms. Potsko?
Yes.
Mr. Reddick?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, yes on 1 through 4, no on number 5, yes on 6 through 12. Motion carries.
Okay, new business? Old business? Anybody that would like to address the board?
I have a couple questions. I was wondering why we haven't tried what Lake Lehman has done as far as with COVID and the policies that you have in place right now.
Madam, I couldn't hear what you said. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Sarah Miscavige.
You Scavenge?
Miscavige.
Ms.
Can I
Scavenge?
take this off so I can speak?
Yes.
I was wondering why, we haven't tried Lake Lehman's approach as far as like the COVID policies. We see a district that went to school this whole entire time, and that's our main objective, right? To keep kids in school full time. So why are we doing something so different? Something that hasn't like had very good results last year. I realize now you're making kids wear carry shields from class to class. Why wouldn't the teachers switch classes and the students just stay put where they are? This way, when a kid does come up hot for COVID, if they do, you can better contact trace. I just think there's a more efficient way to do things without making kids do what we're doing.
Okay, and as I mentioned the last meeting, I know you were here the last meeting, is I would be happy to sit with you if you want some input. I would meet with you, talk to you over the phone, whatever it might be, if you have recommendations. I have taken what I feel is the strongest approach. I've taken every medical recommendation from Centers for Disease Control and the Department of Health, and I followed them precisely.
Who recommended the shields, and why aren't other districts trying that?
I'm not sure, and I don't look at other districts.
But
I
where
worry
did
about
you
your
get
kids.
your information from?
I got the information about desk shields last year because every added layer that I put between one kid to another, it's just one more layer of protection.
Who is most affected by this virus, according to the CDC?
I am not a medical professional, so I just know that I need to prevent transmission.
How
So the
come
best.
you guys don't have the
Could
same
you let me
shields?
finish or no?
Sure, sorry.
You asked me a question. So what I am doing is putting added layers between one kid to another within a classroom. So this year, we did take the Lake Lehman approach. We did come back full capacity. We have kids in the classroom, so that's why I feel the added layers between students is paramount at this point because of the fact that we are no longer taking the social distancing approach. So for me, the closer they are and beyond the 15 minutes of accumulated time near one another is when you see most of the transmission taking place. So as a result, me putting barriers between kids, whether it be through a mask and a desk shield, I feel every layer is one more insurance policy to ensure that I don't send a kid home sick when you sent him healthy or her healthy. I don't want to return a kid home differently than when you sent him.
Can I speak? But you're not addressing the fact that kids are getting up and moving, which makes it more easily contracted, right?
Well, that's what the mask is for.
Right, but why are they carrying shields on top of it? Wouldn't it make more sense for teachers to move from class to class instead of children carrying what they're carrying and going to the locker and
It's a
And-
trifold shield that closes up and they put it with the rest of the books that they're carrying. It's not a rigid, barrier. I don't know what the impression you have of it. It folds and it goes a bit bigger than books and they put it under their arm like the rest of their
But
books.
isn't that carrying germs that were just at the desk? You're folding it up, you're putting it in your arms, and then you're going to your next class. Wouldn't it make more sense for the teachers to move around and keep the kids where they are, so that if some child becomes COVID positive, you know exactly who is around each person?
In theory, we did consider that, and the reason being is because every teacher has an individual computer within their room, so their files are there. So to move, we had teachers that were lugging computers, desktop computers from class to class. So there are variables that are unforeseen, and I do understand. And what I want to do is point out that I would make the offer again to meet with you and discuss this. This board makes policies. I don't want to waste much more of their time and do this in public, so if we have recommendations, I would be glad to consider. I met with 2 parents after last month's meeting and took what they had into consideration and implemented some stuff, so.
Don't you think that we just had trouble speaking to each other with the mask on? Don't you think that kids are having trouble hearing their teachers and seeing the school board with the added shield?
I didn't have any difficulty.
You said that you couldn't hear me.
I couldn't hear what the last name was to spell it.
Oh, I thought it was because of the mask. I'm worried that our kids aren't gonna have that.
So if you want to meet right after we get off stage here, I could take your information. I could call you tomorrow, make a time.
Can I ask who made all these decisions as far as the recommendations? Like, where do you get your information?
I did. I made all the recommendations.
Do the teachers get to have any input on what's done? Like, do they get a vote, and can parents get a vote? Can you guys include us in the next few steps that you take? And is it our goal to stay open the entire time, or I wanna know where you're going with that?
It is our goal to stay open. That's why I'm adding layers of protection between one student to the next. And the teachers, they have a lot of responsibility already. I didn't want to add the safety piece to it, so I take that full responsibility. in
I
my
think
hands.
that's awesome, but don't you think that the teachers might have more input? Like, they could see where it's not working and where it could be better. I feel like if they had some input, maybe we could all work together to come to a better.
Sarah, if I may, this was heavily researched by the administrative staff, not just at our school, in conjunction with Pennsylvania Department of Education and the CDC. And I can assure you, we as a board asked many of those questions, and the administrative staff led by Superintendent Barrett reviewed everything, including what others are and are not doing. And I can say at this point in time, we're comfortable with all the research that was done. This is not an ideal situation. This isn't a perfect situation, but we're gonna fight through this the best we can. And through our research, through our homework, we're gonna make this work as best as we can. And we had all the confidence in the world in Superintendent Barrett and his staff.
I appreciate that, and I think you guys are doing your best, but I have one more question. You guys are all in the age group, I'm in the age group where this virus affects me and it affects all of you most. Why aren't there dividers up for you?
Very good question. Good question. For me, my job is to protect your kids.
But not all of you.
Well, you can walk into Walmart too, and you see people without masks. You know, our main goal here as a board and as this superintendent, not speaking for him, is to protect our children in the best possible way that we can. And we're comfortable with the research that we've done in conjunction with other entities who we're working through this. Again, it's not a perfect situation, but we are doing the best we can. We are going to be diligent, and we're going to follow exactly what we're supposed to. And if there are any changes to that, it's a fluid situation. Superintendent Barrett's on it, and we'll react if the time is appropriate.
future meetings, October work session, Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. Okay, there's somebody that has a question on Zoom.
Yes, Ms. Fleisch, there's a Tyler who would like to address the board.
Okay.
It's a little difficult to hear what you guys are saying, but I did make out that there was some research done by the actual members of the school board. My question would be, what studies have they actually seen and followed in order to mention that these children, some of them 5, 6 years old, should be masks all day long? None of the other policies seem to make sense. The kids are sitting 4 or 5 deep in a seat on the bus, and they're covering their faces all day at school. Some of the kids have already had COVID-19, and there's already been studies that show T-cell memory and other things like that being more effective than the vaccine itself in older people. So I just want to know what studies have actually been viewed by the school board.
Tyler, if I could clarify, the school board did not conduct any studies nor do any research. They had tasked myself and my administrative team to do so. And everything that we have implemented has been in accordance with the Center for Disease Control and the Department of Health. We have not created anything on our own. We haven't reinvented the wheel. And everything that you see as far as a policy, procedure, or mandate has been strictly in accordance with especially Governor Wolf's mandate that began today.
Has there been any type of discussion as to just going against that mandate?
Never.
And the reason you can't is that it would affect, at some point I would think, funding to this school, the health of children, of everyone's child, and the answer is, doubled up by what Superintendent Barrett just said.
From what I can see, there's absolutely no health risks that are really posed for the younger children. That this is mainly asymptomatic for the younger generations, which is obviously a blessing. But it's everybody's focusing all this attention on policies or mandates where they shouldn't belong. Like it's not effective. We already know it's not effective. We're forcing children to cover up their faces and stunting any type of growth that they could be getting from learning facial features of others, and et cetera, et cetera. And it doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to have it make sense for me. Like somebody make this make sense.
Thank you for
I appreciate that, Tyler. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do parents have to do to get their, what would we have to do to change that?
Ma'am,
for
we
the
have
kids?
another one. We have to
Hold on,
answer.
we have another person. Next person, please.
Ms. Williams, you'd like to address the board?
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you.
Can you hear me? I can barely hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I had called and I had spoken with Holly for transportation. My 2 high school kids, the bus that they are on drops them off in front of the Linwood School. Holly informed me that it is supposed to be a double-run bus. And what's happening is these kids are all piling on the bus. My kids have sat on the floor of the bus twice already. Some kids are standing. And I've already called the school, I don't know what else to do. And she told me that if the bus is full, the kids are supposed to wait. Well, how is that fair to, like, how do you look at kids and be like, oh, sorry, you have to wait for another bus to come back? I'm not sure I understand that. And Tyler's correct with the whole 4 to 5 to a seat. I've seen it myself. I don't know, this was not an issue in the past. Why are we having kids sitting 4 in a seat on a bus?
What bus number
And
is this?
especially the high school. Adrian, what bus numbers? And 142, I believe.
Okay. All right, that will be rectified. I'm sitting
Yeah,
here
I'm just
talking.
concerned about it because it's just not, it's not safe for
It's not,
them.
for many reasons.
Thank you for bringing that to our
that's it.
attention.
Thank you for bringing that
Thank
to
you.
our attention.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I, that was the last call, Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
This lady,
Oh, do you have another?
any more questions, ma'am? Are you?
Is there a way that we could all vote on this at some point? Like, can parents be asked for, like, is there a COVID, like, crew that decides what rule goes where? Is there a way we can get more active?
Right now, there's a mask mandate implemented by the state. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, every school district, every classroom has masked students. So I don't know what you are referring to, but I would be glad to sit with you. You have recommendations that you feel could make life more comforting for your children. I would be glad to take it into consideration and bring it back to this Board of Education, most certainly. And again, I did that 2 times after last meeting, and I would be glad to do it again.
I appreciate it.